Hello, David. How are you?
Hey, very happy to see you. Hello, hi everyone.
Same back to you. How are you? Hey, we missed last week post
Hey,
podcast.
yes, yeah, it's been a while, eh? It's been a while. Happy
Well,
New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year if anybody haven't seen us yet this year, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here, back with a lot of projects, with a lot of ideas and hopes and dreams and
And hopes and dreams more than everything.
yeah. Very no, it's fantastic because the beginning of a new year is like a new door. That's many. We don't know what awaits us, no, in this year. So let's keep a good attitude, and the good things will come.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. I mean, well, let's see what happened this year. It's been an interesting year so far.
It has, yes, it has. Uh, it, things are looking very interesting, and new um, new projects, the new uh, well, a lot of new stuff, a lot of
Hey,
new stuff, no news that we didn't expect. They're happening like
yeah.
on a daily
Hey,
basis, and
tell
it's
me,
only the first 2 3 weeks of the year.
Yeah. Hey, tell me something. Do you think that in a future podcast we should talk about the projects you are working right now? How you feel about that?
Ah, yes, I think so. It's very interesting, actually. Yes, I think it has to do like a lot with what we talk about in here
Yeah, because
because mhm.
particularly one of your projects can help somebody who wants to learn English, right?
Yeah, actually yes, and but something that has happened to me recently, maybe we haven't had the chance to talk about it, is that a lot of people are coming up with new projects because this is a market that is growing. But actually, that is what we're going to be talking about today, right? A lot of people want to learn English.
Something that is not really good, but at the same time it comes with opportunities, right? And this is what happened when the market is like it is right now. We are starting to see that Mexico is not advancing as it should in terms of proficiency in English. So we gotta do something, please, David. I mean, it is amazing that Mexico, being the closest neighbor of the states, we are not able to have a decent proficiency in English.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Let me tell you, um, I always thought, or I had the idea that just because we're this close to the States, people were more connected to it, to English, and speaking and learning was something like natural for the people in here. Especially, I've worked with people in Central South America because of National Geographic, and I've come to realize there are people whose level of English is amazingly good in Guatemala, for example, in Ecuador, in Peru, and there are a lot of people really like one of the biggest clients for online English classes is Colombia. Amazingly,
Yeah,
hmm this is huge.
what could it be? Is there any reason that you know of?
But there's with the problem that Colombia has right now with the regime they have and all that, there are opportunities for companies.
So
I
companies are setting up in Colombia right now.
yes, yes.
Oh,
There's a lot of that. I have had a lot of students from there that work in transnational companies, and yeah, but actually, it's very funny that other countries, even Colombia, with the problems that they have, they're taking up opportunities that we are letting go. Which is
well,
sad, no?
Mexico is not letting go opportunities. Mexico, it will start in the next months, probably the next 2 to 5 years, something that is called net shoring. What it means is a lot of Asian companies will come and will establish in Mexico in order to be closer to the border with the United States to open all these products that they are selling or they are producing to the United States market. So
Mhm.
probably the times and the complications with the political climate weather that we are having right now in Mexico, is what is making it a little bit slower, but eventually the nearshoring will help Mexico to grow a lot. So it's just a matter of being patient.
Yeah, but exactly because of that, I think people need to start looking for options, right?
Well, need to
And
start preparing for that.
yeah, and this is very interesting because I think the market has shifted. Before the pandemic, people wanted to go to the schools, and online classes were not like something people were looking for. But now I can see this is a growing market. The company that I was working for, and some new apps that are opening, and some projects that I'm on.
Uh huh.
Well, everything says that the trend is just one piece of information. Do you have any idea how many students, how many clients Open English has?
I don't know. I don't
Two
know.
million.
2 million just in Mexico.
The world, yeah,
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
Latin America, 2 million. But 2 million is a lot. The cost is 17,000 pesos a year.
Open
The
English.
Open English charges around 17,000 pesos a year per student.
And which
Two
is
million
the
students.
biggest market for Open English? Do you know that?
I think it's Central South America.
That's amazing because we are going to talk about that exactly.
Really?
Hey,
Uh-huh.
before we go into it, let me say hello to Dana Crack, which is watching us.
Ah,
Cele, hi
fantastic.
Cele, and my friend Dennis, who is also there.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, hi. Thanks a lot for watching.
Yeah. So tell me, David, I am in a huge. I mean, I am worried about this. I will change the setup we are having right now, and I will start with the first slide. This is an index that Forbes presented back in 2022, I believe, and this is how Latin America proficiency in English are. And I the first time that I saw it, I thought I was watching it backwards because according to this, Mexico is the lowest country in Latin America. I mean, we are the worst in English proficiency. What do you think about this?
I know it's like comes as a shock to me because I was telling you, I think I always thought Mexico's general level of English was much higher than Central and South America's because we are bombarded by um, commercials. And however, let me tell you, there is a very funny phenomenon.
Uh-huh.
In Mexico, we use Latinized names for things, for example, Colgate, for example, and where they say Colgate, which is the actual name, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
Nike.
don't know. We probably have this tendency to mm, mm, I I don't know. The word doesn't exist, but Mexicanize things, you know.
Yeah, we tend to do that a lot. I mean, Mexicans, we usually grab the stuff that we are seeing and we Mexicanize the stuff and we use it like we want to use it or like we understand that it might be used, right?
Yeah, which is not bad, not good. It's just a style. It has its pros and its cons. But I figure this is has an impact on these indexes that state that Mexico's level of proficiency is terrible. And I am very sorry to say something that I am going to say it right now.
I hope no any of your friend teachers is watching right
But
now.
you know what I'm going to say, right?
I
No,
imagine.
no, not them, but in general, and they will have to acknowledge this. There are many people teaching English whose level of English is not
Good
like
enough.
the best. Yes, I don't know. Let me tell you something. For many years, it has been believed that in order to teach children, you don't have to have a very high level of English, which is terrible, terrible, because then our children are being educated by people whose pronunciation is, probably could be better.
Yeah. Well, we've been saying that, and we will get into that point later on the podcast. But because I was exactly telling you this right in the morning, right? There is a problem. I mean, you get into the English school, you get a really good English, probably you get a really nice proficiency, and you are ready for the professional market. But it happens that when you get into the market, you are not practicing enough, and and that's what I was telling you today this morning, that well, we need to do something, because I'm concerned that I will do my certification and everything will go great. It will be amazing. I will feel very happy. And then what if I'm not practicing my English the next 3 or 4 months? I will get back to the middle of the square one and need to retake some courses in order to get my proficiency back up again. No, we need to find a solution to these things. I mean, I don't want to say it right now. Let's leave it for the end of the podcast. But I want to go to the next slide. This is even worse.
Okay.
The next slide. This is the reference is from Bloomberg in line.
Hmm.
I'm showing right now on the screen the highest proficiency countries in the world in English, which is Netherlands. Let me see it here in my phone because I can see
Super sad.
it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is bad. I think this makes Mexico look even worse, because Netherlands, Singapore, Austria, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, Portugal, South Africa, Germany are the first 10 countries with the highest proficiency in English.
Hmm.
And if you can, I don't know if the guys that are watching us can see it. If you this index go all the way to the place 63, which is
Jesus.
Tunisia, and Mexico is not here.
Yeah, totally out of it.
Totally out of it. Then I will put the next slide. The next slide is the countries with the lowest proficiency in the world. And if you look at it, I'm lost. I lost it. Okay, yes, I have it. Mexico is in place 89, right after
Jesus.
Afghanistan.
Wow.
This is
It's
horrible.
it is terrible. It is terrible. And let me tell you, I think that we need to see this from the point of view of the global competition that right now is the reality for our children.
Yeah, this is harsh.
It is terrible in the sense that maybe for us adults, we are who we are and we have the opportunities that we have and whatever. But but this means that for our kids, they will not only have to compete against the people in their nation, they will have to compete against those people in Central and South America that are getting better prepared, whose level of English right now is high, and they're creating another generation with a much higher level of in companies it's really scary. It is very
And you
scary.
know what? They are desperately need to have a really good English in order to get good jobs. Because if not, what they are going to do? A lot of
No,
the people that I know from Central America, they are doing home jobs. They are not going to offices. They are getting jobs from American companies, and they are doing it right at their homes. So they need to get prepared in order to be able to give those services to these companies. Stuff that is not happening in Mexico, and this is probably because, and this is sound weird, but it is true. Since we have a better economy and more employment than that, then we don't need to be as prepared as them to get a job. And probably this is right now the problem that we have in Mexico. We are not realizing that eventually the world it will get so competitive that if we are not prepared, we will be losing jobs against even people on Central America that can come to Mexico to live. They don't go. They probably won't go all the way through to the United States. Just stay here in Mexico and get those jobs that we are not going to get for the international companies.
well, you're touching on a very delicate topic, which is migration,
Yeah.
because we can see. migrants that are suffering and that are like traveling on trains and walking, but there's another migration that we're not paying attention to, and that's the migration of professionals, people who are highly qualified and whose future in their countries is limited, whereas in here they are finding those jobs that Mexicans won't take because we're not prepared.
Yeah, that's hard. That's I like I was telling you, I am scared of this index because it's showing that we don't care. Well, I was reading an article today in the morning that the level of English in Mexico, it is like between A1 and A2.
Wow.
Can you well, the level of English that students in college are getting, I mean the level that they are receiving that they will get when they finish the college is between B1 and B2. This is college.
Yeah, no, no, and that's like the good colleges
Ah,
because there
yeah,
are schools.
this is like Tec de Monterrey, Ibero, UVM. I don't know. I don't imagine. So my question is, what is the level of English in public school in Mexico?
Let me tell you, I visited a normal.
Yes, you told me.
I am not, I visit schools around the Republic. I am not going to tell you which normal,
Yeah, no, please don't.
but this was maybe this is going to give him a hint, but this is like the second generation of English teachers that they are producing.
Yeah.
And I was very happy when I conducted a workshop there, and many of the students' level of English was really good. But I did find a couple whose level of English was really, really not one that it could, guarantee that these people will be good at what they do. But because that's what you're supposed to do when you teach English, no, know
Yeah,
how to speak.
that's the other. That would be my next question to you. What is the level of English among English professors? They get even to the C1 or not?
No, I unfortunately no. It's very funny, but in order to be an English teacher in Mexico, you need to complete a series of you need to have a series of abilities. You need to, for example, know how to control a group. You need to know about methodology, theory of education, but
Yes, okay.
you don't
It's not only
necessarily need
it's
to
not
speak the
only about
language.
speaking English. You also has to have to be a teacher.
Hey, that's the problem. You have to be a teacher regardless.
Yeah.
If your English is good, well, that's a plus. This is
Okay,
really
okay, okay, okay.
our
Where
reality.
I remember the when English classes started back in the 90s, the 2000s. I remember that a lot of the teachers weren't teachers, were
I know.
English speakers.
Yeah, yeah, my first contact with an English school from like when I wanted to be actually my first contact with an English school in general, I went to an English school that does not exist anymore in near Linda Vista in Mexico City.
Uh huh.
The name was the Mexican American Institute. It disappeared many years.
I remember
And
that.
and
That's
and
cool.
they told me, you know what, you want to be a teacher in here, great, you have the level of English, go ahead. What you have to do is you have to go and see one class. So I went into a class, and the teacher, when the class finished, the teacher was really embarrassed. The
Why?
teacher approached me and he said, so you want to be an English teacher here? And I was like, yeah, yes. He said, well, I'm sorry, I'm not an English, I'm an engineer,
Ah, yeah.
but I do this in my free time.
Of
I don't
course.
know how to do it, I just follow the book.
Yes, yes. Well, that was normal back in that time because they weren't in school English schools. I mean, uh, languages wasn't a major in colleges already. I don't know.
That
I
is true.
can't remember exactly at what time it started to be a major in college. I think it gotta be something around the 90s, the 2000s, something around that, were the first college to having the languages
Yeah.
career. So that means the people of my age were probably the first professors with a college degree.
Yeah, it is was shocking to see how politics rules education. You know,
Yeah.
like political ideology, and it's really sad, but it is true. And I think most of our countries, we've gone through this. In well, not to go deeper into that,
No.
I just have to say, yeah, because it's
This is
kind of like,
but this is a good
you know,
question for you. Do you think that we will have in the future a politics podcast or not?
it
We
would be a
shouldn't.
very good idea. Yeah, especially this year it calls for that.
Well, you know what? Yes, we have elections this year.
Yes.
So we should
And
bring somebody if we have a friend
that'd
over
be a good
there
idea. Somebody
that
who can explain to us, no?
what's
Yeah.
the name of that major political
Yeah, it's
sociology or
political
something.
science or something like, I
Political
don't.
science, yes.
Yeah, right.
If we have a friend around there who is a political scientist, let us
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
It would be great to have a talk regarding the next elections in
yes.
Mexico.
No, and not even if you're interested in just discussing, arguing. It doesn't matter which side you are. It'd be nice to have a fresh space to open up and say what you think and what your opinion is. Maybe I don't know in any of the corners of the political spectrum.
Yeah, I
You're
agree.
welcome. You're super welcome.
Okay, well, the next slide. This is a different reference. This is the World Economic Forum, which is it doesn't look as bad as the Forbes one, but it is. But Mexico still is in the lowest part of the proficiency. So
Well,
what?
that's because this one is only about the countries that are in the OCDE. That's why we don't have 80 some countries, right?
And tell me something. Do you happen to know why Argentina has a really high proficiency?
I I think Argentina is really good in education. Actually, many people go to Argentina to study. This is funny because in Central America, it's not like in Mexico you can go to the States or to Canada and it's not that difficult. But if you live in Chile, in Bolivia, in Peru, well, the States is super far. So
You go to
Argentina,
Argentina.
yeah, I just go to Argentina because Argentina has a big connection with Europe, very strong connection with Europe.
Okay. And a lot of German teachers probably, right?
They have not only that, schools.
uh,
They yeah, yeah, the family,
yeah.
their generations have been, but it is true. Actually, it's really funny that uh, for a long time, Argentina was like the rich neighbor. Now they have a lot of problems.
They always
It's
had a lot of problems. I read an article like 5 years ago, and it was on why Argentina economy is not blooming like the rest of some of the Latin American economies. And the biggest problem, the article said that Argentina doesn't have the natural resources in order to be autosustainable. So there is no way. What happened in the 80s with with the Malvinas War is that a government in Argentina closed the frontiers for all the products from the United Kingdom and some of the products in the States. So they wanted to be autosustainable by producing their own stuff to sell to the general public. And what happened is since they don't have enough natural resources in order to do it, they what they provoke is a depression in the economy of Argentina that is still going on right
wow. Well, that together with a lot of social political problems and
and it's really interesting what is going to happen now that Milei is president, right?
I just saw Milei's most recent intervention in I guess it was the OCDE years, an international, the World Forum, I think it was. And he said that the world is in danger because more socialist governments are getting to power. This guy is really I don't know. It's a ticking bomb. I think.
I think that I don't know. I was reading yesterday or the day before that he wants he started a suit against the United Kingdom for the Malvinas Islands.
What they cannot do anything with their own economy, and what do
well,
they want the Malvinas for? No.
right now the World Economic Forum is taking place right in Europe. But
Yes.
I was reading today in the morning that the most important agenda that they have right now is the 2030 agenda for the global warming that they want to stop, and they want to all these the objectives or sustainable. I don't remember right now the name, but all those 20 objectives for the global warming that they want to stop, it has to be done on 2030, and they won't be able to get there.
Of course not. No, that's it's a colossal endeavor. I don't think 10 years is enough. Of course, 7 is not enough. Dan Crack is telling me Mexico is in very bad condition. I didn't think it was like that. I thought it was we were better in English, and yeah, I agree. I think he's right. Most of us think that our level of English is better than South America's. And what a surprise,
It
huh?
turns out that we are not better than it is
So,
hard. The hard, cold reality. Okay,
yeah.
the last slide it is the proficiency inside Mexico. So, what is? I mean, we know that in the south of Mexico there's a lot of education problems. So, thinking that their English proficiency will be good, I mean, it's not. It's far from the truth. But I'm concerned because I'm seeing that Mexico City it has a low proficiency.
I really don't know about this one. It says that Jalisco is one of the well, I don't know. It's kind of um
Well, let me tell you, if you make the this map big, Mexico City is in green,
okay,
but
okay. Well, that makes
it's surrounded by Mexican state, which is the low, and Puebla, which
yellow.
is in
Yeah.
the middle. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
but north states.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the north, the English is a lot more common, but is this kind of vernacular English, okay? Is this English that is brought by our brothers, Mexican brothers that go to the cross the border, work there, and come back? You know, it's not the product of education; it's the product of exposure. No, that's the only reason why it's in yellow, and of course the south. Well, it's very far from the states, so it's not the product of like bad education. There's no education in the
At all.
language whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, this is bad. So,
Yeah.
do you think it will change in the next
Well,
years?
it's something that
It,
is very interesting is that we we can see it at an individual level.
mm-hmm.
And I've always thought, maybe because this is my line of work, but I've always thought that parents need to take hands on because you know what happens. Your kids, my kids, they can speak English, but they don't practice. That's the same problem that we were talking about, no?
Yeah.
So having forums, having opportunities. For example, my my m- my biggest dream is that um, there's like this sub community or these conversations or these workshops or these moments where they can do the same, where they can get together with other kids and they can practice and they.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. I when I talk to other parents, who parents whose level of English is limited or not very good, even parents whose level of English is okay, I tell them, if you have kids, the best thing you can do for your family, for your kids, but for the whole country, is you provide them what company, what the schools, what the government, what what their elementary school doesn't provide them with. That is opportunities to use English in the house, for example.
But that bring us back to the point that we were talking in the first podcast. You need to get involved in your kids in education, and
Education,
that probably
totally.
means that you need to learn English too.
Yeah, because I cannot tell you what is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with education because every 6 years there is a change in this country, and it hasn't been for the better.
No,
No,
well,
so
well, I don't know. I mean, the level of education in Mexico right now is pretty low, and the problem is with pandemic, and the kids were at home like a year and a half, and I mean, even if they were in a good school and they receive online classes, their education stopped for a bit,
totally, totally,
and
yeah.
they are delay at least. I mean, in the better cases, probably 6 to 8 months, but in the worst cases, probably 2 years behind.
Yes, yes, and at all levels, at
Yeah,
all levels,
even
elementary,
even
high,
college
high school.
level. Yeah, even college level. I mean, all that time lost, it won't be able to get it back by any
No,
means. So yes, we as a parent needs to do something really really quickly, because if not, our childrens we will be in won't have the same chances, and that's a really big problem.
yeah, yes, your children will be competing against other children, maybe from. Let me tell you something I discovered. I was having classes for a university here in Mexico that provides education to physiotherapists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they have a branch, they have a school in Guatemala,
Uh-huh.
and my job there was to teach English to those university students in Guatemala. And you have no idea, some of them speak super good English, super 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 good, much better than their counterparts. We're talking about students at the same level, okay?
Yeah.
But the students in the same level of university in Mexico did not have, by far, the level of English that those people in Guatemala. So
But these
it
guys are
makes you think.
getting ready for going to the States, don't you think so?
Most probably, yes, because their dream is to study, but not the States, eh? Their dream is to go to Germany, because the best schools are there. To go to Germany, to go to Norway, to go to Finland.
Oh boy.
So, but they won't study Finnish. They will not study German. They will study English, and they do it seriously.
we we are facing a really harsh future. We need to do something really quickly. So my biggest concern right now is that, what is it? I mean, public schools, right? There's the necessity to have a program where kids are actually getting some English, which I think that they probably don't get in enough.
No, no. The one problem I perceive that because a language is a habit, you need many hours a week of that in order to turn it into a habit.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't get it. Maybe probably they have good teachers. Maybe the program is not that bad. Maybe they. But if they're not getting a good substantial couple hours on a daily basis that is extended at home for the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take them years. Let me tell you, I have visited schools where the students' level of English is amazing, but those are very not many, not many. In my line of work, I've been able to visit schools with a big name
Uh-huh.
that do not give results, and they charge a lot, a good deal of money. Eh?
So what is it? It is our kids that they are not.
No, I think the problem is the standardization of methodologies.
Ah, yeah.
One big problem, what something I have observed is that the same school can deliver different results depending on the coordination. One, for example, not to say names, was one school, one elementary school here in Metepec. I visited it like 5 years ago, and their level of English was not very good. But then they hired a new coordinator of English,
Mm-hmm.
a lady from, I guess, France, but she was really good.
Ah, yeah, you
And like
told me.
two years after, she turned things around. Everybody was speaking very good English. It was amazing. I was able to be there. Fourth graders were talking to me in English, very good English. They did not
Cool.
demand Spanish. It was amazing. Because there's these kids are 8 years old, 9 years old, and their level of English is real good.
So it is education the problem.
It is the way it is constructed, but it is who is in charge of it.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay, David.
Yeah.
Before we go into the last point that we are going to talk about, I found it. The World Economic Forum is getting together this week in Davos. The four main topics for this economic forum are achieving security and cooperation in a fractured world. Imagine that.
Oh, wow.
Creating growth and jobs for a new era. This is something that I want to talk to you in an Xbox podcast. I don't know when. Artificial intelligence as a driving force for the economy and society, and a long term strategy for climate, nature, and energy. Uh, I I was listening today in the morning a podcast that I like to listen. Is the name is Spy Fortuna. It's on Spotify if anybody want to listen it. It's very interesting. They were saying in the morning that education started right at the moment that industrial revolution kick started in the world. That's the moment when the governments and the companies realize that they need to give education to the workers in order to be able to go at the same rhythm that the technology evolution was going on. So that's the reason why nowadays or everybody goes to school, because you need to be prepared at certain level, at least to be able to work as a normal worker in any company, right? So if you
Mhm.
are up to high school or junior high school, you are ready to work in a place. Everything goes together with, you use a uniform. I mean, everything together, get your mind set and ready in order to go and work for somebody.
It
But
makes a lot of sense. Uh-huh.
they were saying today in the morning in the podcast that imagine that artificial intelligence is going to take a lot of job of these people, and it will change things, and you will need to learn new skills in order to survive in a new world for the next 10 years. So what they are saying is that education is to have a significant change in order that people is going to work in the next 10 years with this kind of technologies, understand how they can survive. Other way it will be a really huge problem with economy. So this is one of the
Wow.
topics that I want to talk with you in another podcast. And another topic that I would like to touch base is the last point of the World Economic Forum is a long-term strategy for climate, nature, and energy. They were laughing at the morning of this thing because they say, okay, all these world leaders they get together in Davos and they will talk about our carbon footprint in the world, and all of them arrive to Davos in their own private jets.
Yes, that's been always criticized. But it is our reality. I mean, beyond that speech, which is absolutely legitimate, I think, it is everybody's view of uh, sustainability, and I think these are these topics, just like education. We talk about them, we hear about them, we may have an opinion, we may not even dare to have an opinion because it's like not my thing, not my fault, not in my field, no. So but we need to exercise or exercise these topics.
No, we
And
need to
speaking
learn.
about them,
we need to learn about them because
Yeah,
it will be a thing in the next 10 years. And even though we are a little bit viejitos, and probably some of them we gonna get there, we will be probably retiring at that time when everything will be changing. But we need to educate our kids to get ready for that things
totally. Yes.
because they will be hands full on it, and we don't know
Yes.
how it will go because
Yeah. For
artificial intelligence will take a lot of jobs out. So now you are
yeah. No,
need to get prepared for a new era.
yeah. No. For them, it's not going to be the future. For them, it's going to be like the reality.
Yeah,
That's that hard.
yeah, we are seeing it. We, you, and me are seeing it like in the future, but for them it will be the reality. Okay, so for ending on, we have a good idea in order to keep on practicing every single week or English, so it won't get rusty and dusted because we are not using it. So I was telling David, why not to do a conversational forum at least right now, at least at the beginning, once a week, five, six of us speaking about different topics. We will set a topic each week. This won't be well. We'll probably should do one live in one of the podcasts and see how
Yeah.
it goes.
Totally.
So, if you are watching this right now or later in the future, let us know if you want to participate. We probably won't do it on the podcast, so you guys don't get nervous. We will do
Exactly.
a Zoom or a Meet, and we will just talk so our English keep fresh. And I was telling David that some of the important things about English is that probably you will learn all the words from your job and you will use it because it's something that you do every day. But what happens when you need to talk to a customer and you need to do a small talk and you don't know a shit about anything? I mean,
Yeah.
cultural wise, about from when they are coming, what can you talk with them? So,
That big topic, eh? Because when you address a client, you want to be yourself, no?
yeah,
And the self that you are in Spanish, you would like to transfer it to English, but that needs practice, and you don't get that in school.
no. I mean, even simple stuff like you are going to a restaurant and this guy wants you to tell him what is what you are eating, and you can tell because you don't know the words. As simple as that. Or about this weekend soccer in Mexico. Do you have enough vocabulary to talk with this guy about that? Or music, or books, or whatever. This
or,
is a
or politics.
or politics, yeah. So vocabulary. We go back to one of the 10 tips to develop your English to have a better English vocabulary. If you don't have enough vocabulary, you will get stuck.
Yeah, the vocabulary and of course the training. No, we were saying
Practice,
it's
practice.
important to, yeah. You can go to a dictionary and catch a lot of vocabulary, but you need this spontaneity. You need to be fresh. You need to be
How to
able to be
use it?
yourself.
Well, or
No,
how to use it?
yeah, yes.
Because
It doesn't matter,
one thing is you read the word.
and you don't have to speak perfect English. Little by little, it's going to get better and better and better. But if you want to practice, if you want to sharpen your abilities, if you want to just talk, interchange opinions, interchange ideas, this is a forum for you. This is a forum we will be very, very happy to hear whatever ideas you have and you can bring to the level of English that you have. Don't worry about that. That's
There
not a
won't be
thing.
criticism. We won't tell you
No,
how
no,
to
no.
speak English. We just wanna talk to get our English fresh on weekly basis. That's it.
Yeah.
And well, probably and yeah, you will see the difference. I mean, after doing it 1, 2, 3 weeks, you will start to know the difference.
Correct. Yes. You will feel the difference.
You will hear the difference. I mean, I will record some of the meetings if you want to take a look afterwards. And I mean, no for live purposes, but you will see it. It will be fun. I think so.
Totally, totally. Yeah, guaranteed.
Okay, David. Something else?
Well, that is, I think, in a nutshell, we can say it is. We are not in the best of the positions,
I know.
but it is important to know that individually we can do something about our own future and our families and our friends and our loved ones, and that is not that hard. It's not that hard. It's just a matter of, yes, like you said, devoting, investing your time, your effort, your attention to something that may represent a difference for you and those other people.
If by any means any guy from any school is watching this, please raise your level up. It's needed.
Yeah.
It's
Or
needed.
tell us, tell us
Yes, if you
what's
need
going
help,
on.
let us know. We will happily help you to raise your level up because it is shameful that in Mexico we are level A or A1 or A2. I mean, it just can be.
Yes.
We are right in the backyard of Americans, and it is not cool that we don't that we can communicate with them. So uh, uh, I am under the impression, David, that for example, if a Mexican is going to the States for work, I mean, to get a better life, they don't learn English until they get to the States.
Yeah, there is a big component to that. Yes, you. Uh, it's a very interesting topic. It's very interesting. I can say that you will learn as much as you want to learn. If you have the time and the effort, if you want to really do it, you can do it. Over there or over here. That's
But what happens when you get to the United States and you learn English by only listening and replying at whatever your best
well.
capacity
Yes.
can?
Number one is that the it's plastic. It's not real. Now, many of the times, what you learn in the classroom is an attempt to be as close to reality as possible. But when you get there, it's like when you, exactly like when you go to another country that speaks Spanish, because they speak a different variation of your Spanish. But the difference is that in Spanish, you have your strategies. Maybe you don't understand, but you maneuver, you use your body language. You don't do that in English. So it takes time to adapt. And yeah, of course, right away the impression is no, you don't understand anybody, nobody understands you, but it's the gap, the distance is much
You
greater.
just said something very important that I want to ask you. Are there any English schools they are just teaching formulas so you can communicate in a certain extent instead of actually learning the language as you supposed to?
Well, this is a very interesting thing. Is part of the history of methodologies.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there have been many attempts. For example, in the early 70s, the American Army spent time and devoted money to adapting methodologies to do that because people were sent to Vietnam
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted soldiers to learn Vietnamese. Like right away, they said, "I don't care about grammar. I don't care. Just teach them the enough." And that's the idea that they did that. They created a methodology. It's actually now called the Army method. Is the audiolingual method, and for years, for decades, the audiolingual method was very commercial. There was people would go to your house and sell this encyclopedia like
I
methods,
remember that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it doesn't work.
But
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work. But my question was, there are right now English schools at this moment selling formulas instead of like a real good program in order to learn the language.
What do you mean by formulas?
Okay, I teach you constructing forms to speak English, and that's the only stuff that I'm teaching you. I'm not explaining you how it works.
Yeah, there is a methodology called the natural approach,
Uh huh.
where what you do is you just go and you have conversations, and the mission of the teacher is to show you how this conversation gets you to get some information or interact in some way.
But
And
how far your level of English can reach using only this
well,
formula?
it it's they can be very successful, but it depends on a lot of different factors. Maybe one day we can talk about this. This methodology is, for example, Berlitz uses that the natural approach, and for a lot of people, it's very useful. But it depends a lot on you and your strategies, because as an adult, maybe you are analytical and you need to understand the reasons why, and you say, hey, but why, when I say this happens, and if I put this in here and that, and I get that question all the time. Teacher, is that a rule? Teacher, is that a rule? you know so uh, the methods will take you as far as you want to get, but it takes faith. The faith that I tell you, but you don't care, okay? You do it like this, you say it like that,
Okay, okay.
end of the story.
But then again, what I'm trying to say is this is like programming a robot.
Well,
You will get educated to respond in certain way, in an structural way, in a good English, probably, but you won't have flexibility to go anywhere
well,
because you don't know the English well enough.
according to this methodology, that's how children learn their languages.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But then what about the creativity of being an individual person
That
that is able to speak ideas by yourself?
exactly, that exactly is the reaction to the natural approach. The natural approach is based on training and not reflecting a lot, because there's no reflection needed. You just have to copy behaviors. But
It's like monkey
the
sees, monkey
reaction,
do.
that's the history of methodologies, okay? The history of methodologies is some psychologists comes up with this theory of learning. So based on this theory, people develop methodologies, and then there's another theoretical psychologist that says, no, 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 that's wrong. So every time there's a new psychologist with a new theory, there's a new methodology to teach English. And the truth, let me tell you, to make like the big story, that maybe we should go into that story one day.
Yeah,
The truth is that to this day, after hundreds of hours and millions of teachers around the planet researching, analyzing, observing, we don't know exactly how to teach English. We have a lot of theories, but the truth for me as a teacher is that the best teacher is the teacher that has many resources, and the best student is the student that has the many resources.
oh boy.
Yeah.
This is I mean, I'm thinking now that this is part of what I've been telling you about the education. We need we are receiving information in a certain way just to be able to react in order of the stuff that the government or the companies want us to react. and
That is
and,
true.
and when you where you leave the individuality and the creativity for the persons.
Yeah, what I was telling you, who your personality, no? If you're a joker, if you are easygoing, or if you like sports, like you were saying, you need to do that in another language with your clients, with other people in other places. But you don't get trains for that.
No, but that's hard because I mean, well, we will get eventually to that stuff. Let's leave it there right now. Okay, David.
It's really interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Neil.
you. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody that has been watching us, that will be watching us in the future. If you have any doubts, please let us know. Send us messages. We need feedback from you in order to be able to be better and better and better. And if there are topics that you want us to address, please let us know. I think that eventually it would be a good thing bringing one of our kids to speak with us.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That'd be fantastic. And of course, you are invited to this conversation experiences where we will have different topics, and we'll have dynamics, so that we all have fun and practice our English.
Yes, leave love, please. Likes, subscribe, send us message, and whatever, please. And David, we will see you. I will see you next week.
Next
Do
Thursday?
you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
next Thursday. I mean, we will try to do our best that this year, every single week, starting now, we will have a
Yay.
podcast, even if we are just chatting about, I don't know, what's going to happen in the middle of this year. Well, I think we have Olympics this year, right?
We have the Olympics. I guess so, no?
It would be a good idea to have a Olympic report once in a while when we get that into that part of the year. And thanks to everybody that's been watching us. Do you have already an idea that what we are going to talk about next week or not?
No, no, not exactly. I have a lot, but they're cooking.
Okay, so leave it there, right there. Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
thank you for watching us, and goodbye.